I've never been to the local GP. He noticed something, and 3 hours, 4 hours later, I got that phone call that many people in my position get. It just stops you in your tracks. This word cancer, leukemia, was mentioned, and you're just in the darkness. You don't know what's ahead. I think it was Ron Nodes, the chairman of Crystal Palace at the time. I was aware there's some big clubs. I went for a trial at Everton. Liverpool were looking. Crystal Palace were in the Championship and the old First Division, and Steve Coppell had just taken over the year before, I think. And Steve came up. I don't think Steve fancied me at first, but thankfully after a few more games I proved that I was good enough, and they bought me for £50,000. It was exciting because it was you could see it was going to go on to a different level. But we felt that we'd just missed out, because a couple of years before that, the team had really started to gel. We'd got to an FA Cup final, we finished third in the old First Division, and then it turned into the Premiership. But by this time, bigger clubs were picking off the best players, so we lost the likes of Ian Wright, Mark Wright, to different clubs, and yeah, it sadly for Crystal Palace, the Premiership wasn't great. I think my only year for Crystal Palace was relegation season, where we went down with about 49 points. The year we went down, it was tough. Steve Coppell left, and then it was just time for me to move on as well. When I went there was still, Brian Clough was there. His presence was still there. The players that played underneath Brian Clough just told us all the stories about that era, and you just felt part of a club that had so much history.
16, Geoff.
Kevin Campbell and Pierre Van Hooijdonk in the first season just gelled, and the rest of the team that Dave Bassett put together just blended with the old school of Forest, blended so well to get out of the Championship into the Premiership.
Geoff Thomas, he's done ever so well here. Oh yes, what about that for Nottingham Forest? Geoff Thomas with a terrific goal. It came out of nowhere, and that has really stunned Arsenal.
But then Pierre Van Hooijdonk unfortunately went on strike, and just a difficult time. We set off all right in the Premiership. We won a couple of games, and I got myself injured down at Chelsea. Picked a fight that I couldn't win with Edgar Hoy, who was one of the biggest goalkeepers at Chelsea, and came out second best and did me cruciate. So that was my season done, really. I got to the age of 37, and in my final season, crew rang me up and said, "You want one more year?" Unfortunately, my knee, I was playing up at Rotherham in an FA Cup. I scored a goal, made a couple for Dean Ashton. It was on the TV, match of the day. And my knee, just the last challenge, probably in the 90th minute, I just went in for a silly challenge and my knee just rocked. And I just thought, that's it. But looking back, it was 18, 19 years playing a game I loved, and look back and don't regret anything, just loved every single minute. What's the plan then tomorrow? What have you got planned tomorrow?
I'll have a job tomorrow.
That made me think I've got to start thinking about life after football. So I was interested in fashion bizarrely at this time, and I got introduced to people that were already in that business, and I invested into retail. Myself and Julie, my wife, just put our heart and soul into it, and we started to enjoy it. Actually, we started to make the shops recover and do really well. I wanted to get back in football in one way or another, but that was taken away from what was with what happened in July 2003. this word cancer, leukemia was mentioned, and you're just in the darkness. You don't know what's ahead. And I was told, obviously, when I was first diagnosed, I had only 3 months to live. With my blood counts were looking, and I met my saviour, Professor Charlie Craddock. He put me on a machine, washed all my blood out, and managed to get me to a level where he said, you know, I think we've brought you back to a level where you've got 3 years to live. And my form of leukemia was chronic, so I had time. It was a slow-moving cancer, but at the time there was no cure. The only chance of beating that is to have a stem cell transplant. I was waiting for somebody to come up and be a good match, and I was very fortunate, and I recognised that right from the start. My sister was good enough. My first protocol was to say, right, I've survived this, I'm going to do something. And it was a good friend of mine, Neil Ashton, who was a journalist, and I didn't know he was a Crystal Palace fan at the time. He was covering my story, and Neil just suggested, why don't you do the Tour de France? Not really knowing what that really entailed. It's like 3 weeks on a bike, that was it. That's all I knew. I didn't even have a bike. I sort of put the challenge like this, like Everest. I think Everest, people have proven that all abilities can get to the top of the mountain. Sometimes it's just having that mindset of actually expounding your own boundaries, really. What cycling is for me is bringing people from all different backgrounds, levels together to just spread the word about Cure Leukemia. But we've got 24 guys, 25 including myself, aiming to raise £1 million to cure leukemia. We're over £500,000 as we stand now. We're aiming to, because of last year again, we're aiming to go way beyond £1 million to bridge that gap with lack of funding last year, but to accelerate the work that we're doing now and in the future. I'm not a religious person, but I feel blessed. I wake up every day and I'm thankful for got another day, really, because, you know, like I say, I've experienced the really sad part of seeing people not make it, and I just really enjoy being a part of the family. You know, that's really important to me, that family comes first, and then whatever we can do beyond that, then so be it. We'll do as much as we can.